Yeah, right. Very well, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of hot.
Now make it feel worse.
You ready to start?
Yeah, I'm waiting for.
Yeah, okay, whatever. It's coming right.
How are you, Lou?
We'll be back.
Can you turn the heat down before you sit down?
Yeah.
Please?
Please don't throw up in here.
It's down to 55.
Oh, great, okay.
All right.
I didn't get one.
Pardon me, madam. Before you start the meeting, they
What can I
make a presentation?
I think she has to start the meeting.
No.
What's that?
She has to start the meeting first.
Oh.
Go ahead.
All right. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the Westfield Leader, advertised on January 9, 2014. Notification was sent to the Star Ledger and prominently posted on the municipal public bulletin board and filed in the office of the municipal clerk, informing the public of the time and place according to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. At this point, I would like to remind everyone to please turn off their wireless communication devices, BlackBerry cell phones, and to kindly refrain from text messaging and whatnot during the meeting is distracting to those around you. Okay, where are we?
Mayor Mike.
Mayor, I'd just like to start this workshop meeting with a presentation if I can.
Uh-huh.
I'd like you to come right here, please.
Oh,
If you would.
Had a very emotional day. I married my daughter or something. I made this through without crying.
Mayor, I screwed up and I made vacation plans. I'm not going to be at the last meeting, so therefore
Oh.
the council graciously agreed that we would do this at this meeting.
Uh-huh.
And I would like to
Oh.
recognize all of your wonderful public service, especially as mayor of Garwood, and even before that.
Oh, thank you.
Many years of public service that you've provided Garwood, and being mayor during an especially turbulent, controversial time for various issues.
Yes.
We especially appreciate your service.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank you.
here's your plaque.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm surprised I made it through without a letter. I married my own child on Sunday. And I was surprised that some of you gave me encouraging words on Facebook, and I was surprised that I made it through without falling apart. My firstborn daughter.
Wow.
So it was,
Congratulations.
yeah, it was kind of tumultuous for all of us, you know. But she wasn't a bridezilla, so we're happy.
Hey, Mayor, you got any advice for the next mayor coming in, or what?
Be careful.
Charles and I have had a few discussions already,
Good.
so we're good. We're good.
Very good.
That was very nice.
I wanted to catch you off guard so I didn't start crying.
Yeah, I know, right? Right. Now we'll move along. First order of business this evening is that we're gonna do an acknowledgement. I'm hoping that she's here. Karen Sullivan? No, she's not here right now. Neither is Tracy. These were the ladies who handled our newsletter, and hopefully Karen will show up. I know Tracy was not able to. So, I want to recognize them for their volunteers. First order of business, Mr. Boreal, how are you?
I'm fine, Mayor, how are you?
I'm Ms. Peachy, thank you. So you're the first up. What do you got for us?
Just very little, just working on closing out the last year's DOT project. I'm awaiting some documentation, and hopefully we'll have a final change order by the next council meeting.
Okay. Would you like to talk about the encroachment situation at this point?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
I wasn't at the last meeting, I understand there was no, that it was supposed to be on the agenda, but I guess it wasn't discussed, but, yeah, we still have those encroachments. There are three items, three areas where we need to address. They all deal with fencing. One has a driveway that has just, that severely encroaches onto the borough property, the other has a driveway that's, foot or so on the property. So we have three encroachments, and we also have, of course, there's, when we talk about fencing, there were some areas that the contractor did not have included that should be fenced in along adjacent properties that are on the athletic complex. So it would be my suggestion we include all that fencing in one contract. We see if we can get a number that would be below the 17.5 number and put it out as a contract, or we have to want 12 bid.
Okay, as I understand it, and as I read here, there's a lady on Myrtle Avenue who's asking us to let her know, as she had not heard any plans for her property, which is encroaching on the park. She's at 116.
Yeah, letters, I believe letters went out to everybody. Now, whether or not she received it or not, but I'm pretty sure letters went out to the 3 or 4. I know I sent a couple of letters out, and I believe then maybe something went out to the clerk's office, but letters did go out to the people explaining to them what needed to be done. And if you remember, we had quite a discussion with the property owner on Willow that backs into the complex. So I think everybody, well, the other three had responded, so I just don't understand why she didn't know what was needed. But she's the one that has a driveway that's probably 10 to 12 feet over the property line.
Can I ask a question? Do we know for certain that everybody did receive letters? Because I was reading through one of the letters in here which said that one home received letters addressed to other residents. So by mistake, he received letters that were intended for other residents. So did those residents actually receive the letters that were addressed to them?
Well,
He didn't know that, because those letters came from
Yeah.
me, yes, they did. They were resent, and they did get them, that was, I think, probably about a year ago, right, the date's
more than that, I think.
13 on Saturday?
So they were resent?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
And one homeowner already, a long time ago, corrected the encroachment
Only
problem,
one was
so.
Mr. Bree.
Mhm. Right, so, when you have one
Well,
person.
one, also, one of them did remove his sheds off the property, so that we are able to fence in the area behind his property now. The sheds have been moved. There were 2 sheds that were on the borough property as well. Those have been moved, but the fence has never been moved.
Right, so that's,
So
basically 2 out of 4 have.
Because that fence ties into the fence that's on the 12 foot over the property line. So, they go one hand in hand, really.
Okay, Ms. Ariana, somebody please, at this point, I have a copy of the letter here from, dated June 13th, 2013 to, Mr. Renat.
That's an email on that.
That's an email to Mr. Renat. And then there's an email here from, November 11, 2014 from Ms. Spratt at 116 Myrtle Avenue. She's waiting. So, it looks like,
But, if she didn't receive a letter, there's no way she would
she's
know she had
waiting to
encroachment.
hear. Apparently she did.
Yeah, she had to, because otherwise she wouldn't know she had an encroachment.
Yeah, and if I could just chime in, I've spoken to her a couple of times. She's aware of the issue. I think the way she phrased it to me was, she was waiting for a determination from us as to what's happening.
That's correct.
Yeah, according to this that was sent to Mr. Renat, he wanted from Ms. Ariama, the borough would remove encroachment fences when it installs a new fence, however, other encroachments must be addressed. And Councilman Blackfetter had been appraised of the situation. I think they may be looking for a time frame for residents to complete this. Let me know if you have any questions. So somebody needs to do something here. Are we gonna wait for the fence, where we're talking here about taking the fences out that are encroaching? Bob, where are we?
Well, I mean, I guess where we are is we originally were thinking that we would get the fencing as part of the project, but apparently that didn't work out in terms of pricing, so now we're working on it. separately, apparently, and, which is fine. And as I understand it, we're gonna put fences up where they belong. So, essentially, I know that everybody's saying that they don't know what's happening, but they do know what's happening, which is they have properties that are encroaching onto the borough property, and we're gonna put fences up.
And some people have removed the encroachment, and this particular person has not. She's waiting, was she waiting for us to do it?
Right,
So it's like it.
right, presumably.
I think she just has a driveway. I think she just has a driveway that extends.
Well, driveway and a fence.
And a
Well,
fence,
and a
that's
fence.
also.
Right.
And
Her
there's another-
backyard is fenced in, but it's fenced in, like I said, 12 feet over the property line.
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Renaud, my understanding was the trigger to this was the state and county grants we had taken. They don't allow for encroachments. I mean, it's a good in and of itself to do that, to protect borough land, but I think that was their true legal concern, am I correct?
Well, that was the concern, is that the Green Acres program requires that the property be free of encroachments. But again, as you say, that's certainly important and a good thing, but, you know, the fact of the matter is the property doesn't belong to you individually. It belongs to the people of the municipality, and it's really not up to you to say, for example, it would not be the right thing to do to say, oh, let them, you know, that's fine, because it's not, it isn't your, if it was your property and you had somebody from driveway encroaching, you could say, you know what, that doesn't bother me, that's okay, but it's not your property. You're the stewards for the municipality, and, you know, people can't use the public property.
For me, my biggest thing is, and I know the one that we're talking about, that's 10 to 12 feet of asphalt. So who pays for the removal of all that? And
Well, I thought that we had decided that we were gonna put up the fence, and if there were obstacles that people left there, that we were gonna remove them. That doesn't have to be the case, but I don't know that we have the right to take over the property. I mean, it's our property, we have the right to take it. Whether we have the authority to require somebody to take up an obstacle or not is I suppose is a question, let's say a question that I'm not prepared to answer. If you said, can we go and no, can we make them remove it, I would research it.
Well, so it's pretty significant. That's a pretty significant encroachment, 12 feet.
Yes.
Now, if somebody were to fall down, break an arm on this woman's driveway that's encroaching onto our property, even though she has her own fence there, would not then at that point the borough be responsible for that person getting injured because we didn't put the fence where it belonged? I mean, if that's the case, I mean.
It's possible. It's our property.
Right.
If the conditions met what the conditions under the Tort Claims Act are for somebody to sue us, it's municipal property, it would be our responsibility, yes. Now, the homeowner might be responsible as well, but it's public property for which we're responsible.
So, when you say that if we remove the 12 feet of asphalt, we pay for it to remove it, so then do we turn around and send them the bill for it?
Well, that's the question, I mean, do we? That's up to you, and up to me to just figure out whether we can do that or not, but,
Yeah, I'd like to avoid that if at all possible. I mean, Mrs. Spratt, the way she said it was, you know, she bought the house, she improved what she thought was her property. I have no problem if it's over and it's our property line, that's our property, that's clear cut. But if she innocently improved property she believed to be hers, I would really not wanna go ahead and stick her with, you know, it's not like she built a home on it. I mean,
Well,
she
the only
put,
reason
you
I'm
know,
asking is
asphalt on it.
because some other
Driveways.
people already removed at their expense their encroachment, and then the people that didn't, now we're gonna do it at our expense.
Is there a question of fairness there?
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, and that's why
I
I'm.
mean, you don't have to remove the asphalt.
That's what I was gonna say. Why?
It's level with the ground. I mean, it's kind of gonna look a little funny with the asphalt on the other side of the fence, but you don't, theoretically, you don't have to remove it.
Unless there's an independent reason to do it at some point in the future, I mean, you could just leave it there. I don't see any
And
Put a
then
reason.
fence
put the
up, on
fence
one
up?
side have
No.
asphalt on the complex, and on the other side would be her driveway.
Right.
So
So we're gonna have asphalt on our side of the park,
That's what's there today.
Yeah.
But with a fence.
Well, the fence would separate, she wouldn't be able to utilize it, use it anymore. If you're trying to cut down on the expense and the option of having to deal with who's gonna pay for it, you could leave it there, cover it with mulch and it would disappear over a period of time. You wouldn't even know it was there.
Well, also,
That's what they asked for.
just putting a fence up also where it should be limits your liability for something that happens when somebody's visiting her and not using the facility by us, you know. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, yes.
Can we give direction to,
Well,
whether
yeah.
Tina, Bob, or Don, to authorize the, whatever is necessary to purchase the fencing, install the fencing, and if we want to debate removing the asphalt later on, we can debate removing the asphalt later on. As far as I'm concerned, you just rip it out and make it well, but right now, can we just get the fence done? I like that idea.
Agreed.
Alright.
Okay, so basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna authorize the engineer to go out and get quotes, and then they'll have to
Right.
come back with prices to you, and then you'll have to authorize the contract.
That sounds fine.
Okay.
Okay, but no one discussed this registered letter from 167 Myrtle where he says, you know, he ain't doing that.
Is that Mr. Higney? Just for the public, I'll just
He's
read it
asking
to
me
you.
to answer him, I never answered him.
Please be advised that the borough has no legal right or authority to authorize a contractor or any other entity to quote remove the fence, and be forewarned that I will use all legal remedies at my disposal, including without limitation of bringing lawsuits against the borough of Garwood, the mayor, the city council, both collectively and individually, as well as the construction company, and any and all other individuals or entities who attempt to do any work on my property which is not directly authorized by me.
Well, we don't intend to do any work, but that's what we're, that's,
That's exactly, since we're not
That's the easy
authorizing
part.
it, that's the end of that, right?
that's the easy part.
I agree.
Okay,
So that's
so-
addressed.
And I talked with Don about this, I mean, we're not going to, the fence is not going to be on where we think the property line is either. We'll move, you know, any fence that you have, you're gonna move back at least a few inches, so it's not gonna change.
It's gonna be on the park property.
On the property line.
All right, so we're giving Ms. Ariama
Are you giving-
instructions to do exactly what? Let's outline that.
Well, so you stand corrected, I think you're giving direction to Mr. Goriello to get you quotes for the fence, is that
Correct.
right?
Right, Don?
Yes,
Thank you.
we're gonna cover all the fencing at one time, am I correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Move on.
Okay.
To clarify, the fence that's currently up, does that belong to us or does it belong to the property owners? Because is it a matter of moving fence or a matter of just putting up a new one?
It's a new one and it's on their property.
Well, the fence belongs to them, but it's on our property.
It's along the
So it's
driveway.
Okay, so it's
So
ours.
what I would suggest we do is we send them a letter, tell them they have the option of removing the fence and keeping it if they'd like, otherwise we'll take it down.
Agreed, and give them 60 days to do so?
Yeah.
Does that sound fair, 60?
That's fair.
Who are you talking about now? Somebody, one of these?
The
Oh,
driveway.
the lady with the driveway.
Well,
Right.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, the fence is on our property, she may want it, so give them the option of taking it down, we'll take it down and,
She doesn't have a fence on her property. Hers is just driveway.
no, hers is fence as well.
Fence there too.
The driveway only goes to the front of the house, but from the line of the driveway continues down all the way to the back of the property.
Sort of makes that box.
The stockade
Fences.
fences and sheds on the westerly and northerly side of the property are encroaching into the park, is that what you're talking about? Mrs. Spratt at 116 Myrtle?
No,
No.
no, this is, we're talking about what is it, one,
67.
oh yeah, 116 Myrtle, correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
She does not have a shed though, never did. The shed was, that's incorrect about the shed, but she did have fencing, does have fencing and a driveway. The sheds belong to the people on Willow, about 115 or thereabouts. But they're, like I said, those sheds have been moved off of our property.
They did what they really
They
did.
did.
Yeah.
Now, the gentleman that sent us the letter that Councilman Neerstedt read, that was 167, right?
Correct.
To me, it sounds like he believes that fence is his. So if we are to move it, if he doesn't in 60 days, does that mean that, I mean, anybody can take legal action anytime they want, but are we okay in moving that fence, Bob?
His survey agrees with our survey, and they both show the fence is over the line. So, you know, maybe he doesn't know how to read a survey, or maybe he doesn't understand that, but the fact of the matter is, it's over the line. His driveway's over the line, so not anywhere near as much as the other owner, but
Right.
the fence is over the line.
Is it just a fence or is it also that overhang wall? that
No,
wall, the overhang?
that is just about on the property line. That-
So we wouldn't be
That's
removing
the
that?
back property line, no, we're not gonna touch that. We're
Okay,
gonna take that orange or reddish colored fence down and put a fence up that's
Okay.
suitable.
I need
And then
some,
one just follow-up question too. I know you've spoken to at least some of the residents who visited their properties and helped them. Could you do that in this case to
Absolutely.
explain to him the issue, the discrepancy over the fence?
I think we made that overture, just, he hasn't been willing to, hasn't asked us to talk to him about it.
Okay. Well, if we could reach out to him,
Yeah, I
at
can
least
do it.
offer,
Sure.
you know, since you, I think you were very helpful to the other residents that were affected.
All right?
I need a little clarity, so, as I understand it, you gave direction to the engineer to get some quotes for fencing, but I'm a little confused, are you directing anyone to communicate with these people, or are you asking to verbally communicate with them?
Well, we need to communicate with them, the 60 days we just spoke about, giving them, 60 days to
Okay.
move the fence, or we will.
Right, are you directing me to rewrite them, or are you directing the attorney, the engineer speak to them?
Well,
I think-
both I
I think-
actually heard.
I think
I think
both.
writing would be, in writing.
Writing
Right.
definitely, but then I was also asking Don
Okay, so then I need to
to
go
reach
into-
out
I
to
need
the 167 Myrtle personally.
Okay, I need clarity on each one of these, what you want me to tell them, these people. What-
Remove the encroachments within 60 days, or else we will,
Okay, on all of them, same thing.
on all of them.
Remove,
Right.
what about the fence too?
Same thing.
Okay,
That's the encroachment.
even though my
That's
other
the
letter says
encroachment.
that we're gonna remove the fence, my last letter.
We'll give them we'll be nice. We'll not today, if he wants the fence, he says.
Yeah, if they don't want the fence, we'll remove it, I mean,
So I'm gonna give them the option, we'll remove their fence still, that still
Right.
exists,
Right.
but in other words, in
They
60
can
days,
remove it in
everything.
case they wanna keep it.
Okay, got it, I understand now,
All right?
got it,
You got it?
thank you.
Yep.
I got it.
we're gonna be putting up a chain link fence like we have around the rest of the park.
Everything. Same as everything,
All right?
Yes,
right?
You should have looked at
Yes.
whatever you had
I'm
Okay.
good.
one time. Anybody have anything else for Mr. Goriello?
Actually, I do.
Yeah.
Just thought about it. Right across the street, I guess the gas company did some work and they repaired that concrete.
Yes,
However, our pavers, they took and they.
I know, I called them about it, they weren't sure, we were gonna check and see if it was there, if they actually did it, and there's a gas main there, but there's also brand new, leader pipes there, and I wasn't sure whether they did it, or the gas company, or the homeowner did it, so, or the building owner, so, I called the gas company, asked, told them what we had, and they were supposed to get back to me to have it, so I'll give them a call.
Thanks.
Anybody have anything else at this point? Thank you, Mr. Goriello. Mr. Renat?
Thank you, Mayor. Have a number of ordinances which are, most of which are on second reading tonight, and one for introduction. If anybody has any questions on them, I will hopefully be able to address them. Just sort of run through them. We have the one pertaining to parks and recreation and so forth. That was introduced and discussed at the last meeting. We have the smoking ordinance, which is going to prohibit smoking in parks. And we have the salary ordinance. Then we have for introduction, a change for the group medical benefits part of the personnel ordinance, which is going to remove the stipend which is currently offered if someone has two people who are eligible for medical insurance in, two people in the family that are eligible for medical insurance, that somebody could waive it and they had to get a stipend of, what was the number, Tina, is it 5,000?
It's 25% of the savings, or
Okay.
not to exceed 5,000.
So that was the number, and the state apparently has determined that because now employees have to contribute to their health insurance, that people doubling up on insurances doesn't seem to be a problem anymore. So the incentive for the municipality to offer that stipend has been removed, and so that stipend is being removed, assuming that you are in agreement with that.
Everybody get all that?
Mhm.
And if anybody have anything for Mr. Renard this evening? Okay, we'll move along. Ms. Ariana, you have anything to say?
Yes, I just, I don't know if you wanna bring up the, Mayor Lombardo, asked me about the reorg date, the time that we picked. I don't know if you want to entertain discussing changing that time.
Well, I'm gonna leave it to the folks up here to discuss that. Is there an issue with the time? I have no idea.
He had said that it's kind of early for him to get his family here. He had requested that we change it to 7:15 if we would be so inclined to do so.
Let's do it.
No problem with that.
No problem?
7:15 is good.
Okay, so later on, I'll read a resolution memorializing that change.
Do you
Okay.
wanna make it 7:15 or just make it even 7:30?
7:15.
7:15?
Okay,
Okay,
so we'll take care of that. You have anything else for us?
I do not.
Okay. Well, we already discussed the unfinished business, the encroachment matter. Is there any other unfinished business, Ms. Ariana?
I have not.
I have nothing. I don't think anybody else does. Don't be saying anything here. Okay. New business. This is a comment or matter for discussion from the members of council. Council President Tarantino?
New business? No.
No?
Oh, you know, you confuse me, Mayor, every time you do this. You have new business and then you, are you on, I'm sorry, comments or matters for discussion?
Yes. Do you have anything you want to talk about before we get it on the agenda, regular agenda?
No, not new business, just, but what I've been working on, previously, the parking committee is still working on the issues that we've been discussing previously, and we hope to have a full recommendation for council by the next meeting. I know I said that last month, but we still have a few things we're ironing out, so we are hoping next, did I say next month, next meeting, the last meeting of the month, to have a, full recommendation for council, hopefully.
Councilman Martin, do you have anything you would like to discuss with, council members before we go on to the consent agenda? Councilman Matthew?
No, I'm okay, Mayor, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Neerstadt?
Thank you, Mayor. 3 items. First one, I did hand out my report to everybody tonight. I recognize the first one has to be changed a little bit. But regarding the athletic field, the sports complex area, I had brought up the night of the discussion about the sentence in there about the killing of snakes. And I'm sure you people might have seen the letter to the editor in the paper where the borough council members were asked to ditch the language on killing of snakes, and the man explained why. I realize we can't do anything about it tonight. I will support the ordinance tonight, but I would hope that come January, I'll put forth an amendment that we can actually remove that sentence. And we look for fellow council members' support on that. 2, I attended the last Union County Freeholder meeting, and there were 3 items I thought might be of interest. First is the New Jersey Transit Value Line Coalition. New Jersey Transit has petitioned the federal government, and I was advised tonight that the federal government has actually approved the funding for the implementation of the 1-seat ride off-peak evening hours, so that should start in January of next year. Second item, believe it or not, our own Bruce Patterson brought up, and I thought it was actually very interesting. I'll just read it the way I have it here. Bruce asked why, if the Union County Open Space Fund dollars are raised through taxation, why then does each municipality have to provide an additional match to get some of those dollars back through the grants? What that means is that municipalities have to raise taxes, increase their budgets, just to get back their original tax dollars that they put into the fund. So I thought it was a good point, and we might again discuss that at some point too. Does everyone catch what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think about that, but then to match that, you have to raise taxes to get the dollars back. So I'm sure the county wouldn't want to change that, but it might be something we want to talk about. And third is that Union County also adopted a resolution prohibiting fracking on any county-owned land. And again, while it might be meaningless, I probably will be asking for something similar to that next year from us. Last thing is, I'm sure that most of you are aware of the Pilgrim Pipeline that is proposed from Albany, New York to Linden, New Jersey. While it does not traverse directly through Garwood, it would run through Cranford and Westfield. And it's actually about 2 blocks down south of Unami Park through Cranford. 2 weeks ago, a group in opposition to the pipeline asked Westfield to adopt a resolution opposing its construction. At that time, Westfield forwarded to a committee for their review and deliberation at the upcoming meeting. I handed out an article tonight. PSE&G also recently denied Pilgrim access to their right-of-way. I advised my fellow council members that if Cranford and Westfield adopt resolutions opposed to the pipeline, that I would bring forth a supporting resolution and perhaps an advocate for that measure and ask for your support. I don't pretend to be an expert in the pipeline, but does anybody have any questions on it?
It's all over the news pretty much.
Yeah, everybody's aware of it?
Yeah, I am. I just wanted to say,
Sure.
I read the article that you have here. It's got some misinformation in it. The Bakken shale that comes from North Dakota is not especially explosive. That's not true. It's kind of a little bit of a hobby of mine following this. The other thing is the pipeline moving oil is actually far safer than any of the other alternatives, which has now become, rail has become the main one because we don't have the infrastructure. Trucks and ships would be the second, but pipelines are far safer, and they lead to far less environmental contamination. But the fracking is actually just a wonderful story of American ingenuity and technology. As of 2013, the United States produces more natural gas than Saudi Arabia, and we're on track to produce more oil than Russia and Saudi Arabia in the next year or two because of fracking. Fracking's been around for about 50 years. It's being employed now in different shale gas formations, and there's been, despite many attempts to find fault with it, there has been absolutely no proof that it contaminates drinking water or has any type of environmental hazard. So it's really a fabulous thing. And it's led to, I don't know about you guys, but I filled up $2.31 a gallon. I can't remember the last time I did that. So, you got a lot of that in my backyard, I think, with this Pilgrim pipeline. But pipelines in general are safe. Fracking is safe, and it's been a wonderful technological story that has really, totally reinvigorated the oil and gas industry in this country. So I just wanted to go ahead and, speak up for fracking and pipeline disbursement, and I would oppose any resolution.
I'm not about to get into it, Mayor. Jim and I will argue for hours at another time. I disagree with everything you said, so we'll see what happens down the road. Thank you. That's it, Mayor.
Did you,
I just have one question. Jim, would you fill up for $2.31 a gallon?
Route, I drive there to go to work, Route 1 South. 229. I'm sorry, 229.
229 on Saturday.
Yeah, 229.
What's the name of that gas?
Edison.
okay. I did send a couple of these articles to Mr. Neer's staff. I don't know if there was a meeting last week.
Right.
Informational meeting. I happen to be opposed to fracking, that's just so I'm opposed to the pipeline just because that's where it starts with the fracking, having worked many years in areas related to environmental engineering, and a major client was Amarada Hess, who's now getting out of certain areas of the automobile fuel business. So that's just my own personal thing, and I plead guilty to nudging Bill along. Okay. Mr. Petrozelli, anything?
No, Mayor.
And Mr. Disco, Councilwoman.
Yes, Mayor, I have a few items tonight. First of all, I want to say that there's I basically caught some wind of a little misinterpretation going on of the county resolution we passed 2 meetings ago at our October 28th meeting. That was the one where we passed a resolution asking the county freeholders to investigate merging their county sheriff department with their county police department. And so basically, you know, through the grapevine, I'm hearing that the county is interpreting that to mean that we want them to study merging with municipal police departments around the county, which obviously was by no means our intent, and Councilman Yerstedt was gracious enough to go to their maybe last meeting or the meeting before that, of the freeholders to let them know our intent, which he didn't get a direct
I was
response to.
gonna say, and
If you'd like
Councilman,
to-
as you would expect, they had no response.
I couldn't wait, what's the response? No, but anyway, basically, because that's the, you know, rumor out there that that was our intent, you know, I think we should clarify that, especially in order to hopefully get the other 20 towns around around the county to look into possibly passing a resolution like this. So, I would like, if everyone else is okay with it, for us to direct the clerk to send a letter clarifying our intent to the freeholder board and to the other 20 municipalities and anybody else we included on that resolution that we forwarded to. So, all right, is everybody okay with
I
that?
believe by all means,
Yeah.
it should be
I
clarified.
thought it was clear the first time, but.
I thought it was clear the first time too, but, you know, just make triple sure. The next item I have is I just wanna update everyone, if you were wondering, why the software company issue is not on our agenda tonight, that I reported about. Basically, we expected that, the vendor would be ready to go for us by January, but being that they can't, they wouldn't be able to have it until, around April. I spoke with Ms. Ariam about this, and she doesn't see why we should jump to passing any kind of, ordinance about that, or, resolution about that tonight, so, that's why we're holding off. Just
I
wanted
had one question
Sure.
about that, because when I was reading one of the articles in the newspaper, it sounded like we were investing all of that money just to be able to allow people to pay their taxes online. And I was looking for clarification as to what exactly the program, is it a
Right.
full accounting program? What exactly
Right.
is going on here?
I'm actually very happy you brought that up, Mayor. I read that too, and I could see how there could be a little misinterpretation about that. No, that's just an added benefit of going with that company. That is not the reason behind the price tag or anything like that. And like Ms. Ariama said at the last meeting, the other company that came in second would need us to replace our server, which adds that additional cost. So that's why, you know,
So what is the actual reason that we are changing companies?
in need of this. The company that we currently have been using, with the health condition of the owner, will likely not, be around for too longer.
Right, so the company we're using is not gonna be around, so we're changing companies.
Exactly.
And because of that, we're changing servers?
No, with the company that we would like to go with, that came in slightly higher, we would not have to change the server, but with the other company, we would.
So we're not, all right, I said that, so we're not changing servers and we're getting the added benefit of, being able to pay by credit card.
Right, because
So
that's a
just
service they provide, it's not something that we sought out.
So it's just a benefit?
Right,
Okay.
exactly. I think it mainly is just something that a lot of towns are going towards these days, so the companies are providing that. So it's not something, like I said, that we sought out as a need, but if they're going to throw that in there too, why not?
Okay.
So, all right, and then Mayor, I just have one other item. So as the mayor and council knows, the borough has had an issue with how the crossing guards are paid here in town, which started, I believe, over 10 years ago, when the guards went from working 3 shifts, a morning shift, lunch, and afternoon shifts, to just working morning and afternoon. So going from 3 shifts down to 2, when schools stopped having open lunch for the kids to go home at that time. But basically, the problem is the guards continue to get paid for 4.5 hours when they really only work 2.5. The Finance Committee has discussed this issue at length and has come up with a unanimous recommendation for the council that I want to share with everybody tonight. So I actually typed up a plan. I'm going to go over it, but it may just be easier to take a look at it. Here's another one to pass. Mayor and Tina, if you'd like to have a copy, there's plenty. So basically, this shows what I'm about to go over, plus some math behind it too. So basically, this plan corrects this issue through attrition. In other words, this plan affects new full-time hires going forward, as well as alternate crossing guards. And as our current guards are no longer working for us and they get replaced, the issue will be resolved completely. Without hurting the current crossing guards who are accustomed to making what they've been making for years, obviously, the borough will be able to really save money with this plan. From this point forward, as new guards are hired by resolution, as they are done right now, the terms of their work would actually be stated right in the resolution. It will state that they are to be, that they are to work 2.5 hours per day at $17 per hour, which is in line with what other towns in our area are paying their crossing guards, especially if they have 2 tiers of guards, the current guards and new hires. The 17 is in line with that. Also, since alternate crossing guards, which are basically like substitutes, would be coming in to fill roles if someone's out sick or taking a vacation or something like that, you know, the theory behind it was that they should not be getting paid more than anybody we would attempt to hire in the future. Their pay structure needs to be changed as well. So we would basically, or we as the finance committee are recommending that we also, effective at our reorganization meeting on 1/2, that all alternates will be hired by resolution stating they will get paid 17 per hour and work 2.5 hours per day. The borough will save, like I said, significant money on this. We would be saving $3,100 roughly, I have the exact number, $3,133.87 per year for every new hire. And we will save at least $850 per year for the change to the way the alternates are paid. So, right now we have 10 crossing guards, so over time, we will save over $30,000 by implementing this plan. So, no direct action needs to be taken tonight by resolution or anything like that, but basically if we can get the consensus of the council to be okay with that, then Ms. Ariema will know how to draw up a resolution in the future for future hires, and then also going forward for our meeting at reorg on the 2nd of January, she can prepare that resolution to make that effective right then and there for the alternates. So.
Does anyone have any questions for Councilwoman Tedisco with regard to this?
Just one, Councilman, you indicated the $17 an hour, you would write that based upon what other towns are paying.
Yes. Would you like to know a couple
If
of
you
them?
have it, sure.
I do. Just open up my folder here. Westfield has that 2-tiered system. Like I said, they had current guards that are at 19 an hour, but their new hires are earning 17 an hour. So Westfield's in line. Mountainside is 17 an hour as well. And Berkeley Heights has 4 steps to top salary. They basically start at 15 and top out at 20. So we're right in the middle of that as well. So we are in line.
Thank you.
And current crossing guards are actually working how many hours per day right now?
2.5. Which
They
that,
are working that, okay.
they are working 2.5. Obviously, this is something I think we all wish was corrected when the change happened, but it didn't, so we're faced with this issue, and this is a way of making the change, fixing the problem over time, saving money with new hires that understand that at their time of hire, what their terms and conditions are, and then also the alternates understanding that their pay structure needs to change as well, because it wouldn't be fair, obviously, to pay alternates more than new hires. And we don't know when our next new hire will be. You never know when somebody will retire.
Well, was it true that at the time, you know, the change was made, eliminating the open lunch, that we were aware that we were low in our hourly rate anyway, so we were figuring we were kind of making up, you know, our low hourly rate?
Right, the hourly wage right now is low, but maybe that went into their thinking. You can never say for sure,
Right.
but,
It was a long time ago.
right, I mean, I say over 10, but
Yeah.
it was a long time ago. So,
So this doesn't change anything for current crossing guards?
correct.
And you're making a recommendation in your finance report tonight to direct,
Well, I can, unless we can do that right now.
I'm
Or-
comfortable with it now.
Okay, or, yeah. Up to the rest of the council. I'm fine either way.
so I guess I'm okay with this. I mean, I would have liked to have seen, you know, current crossing guards, you know, have the entire thing fixed all at once, but I don't wanna see current crossing guards hurt monetarily, you know, so I guess this is a good compromise that we're fixing the problem moving forward while not affecting anyone's, pocket right now, being that it was a problem caused by not this council.
And I believe the attrition, the guards, I mean, do you know how long, how long, I don't know how to phrase this
Right.
question, I mean.
Yeah, I think you're
quick.
getting to the turnover
Yeah.
question.
With the turnover.
It's pretty quick. In the
Yeah.
past few years, we have had a turnover of about 5. I
Yeah.
spoke to the chief about that, so,
So it shouldn't be that long before the savings are there.
right.
See, I've had a legal concern with this for some time, for the guards who claim unemployment, that we're certifying to the state, they work 4.5 hours per day at $13.25 per hour, and they're claiming unemployment of $13.25 per hour for 4.5 hours a day. And that's not true. And that's been my concern for a couple of years now, that the guards, and possibly the borough, are involved in basically false filings with the State Unemployment Commission. And that's really been one of my concerns, and this does not fix that. So that's really what I'm worried about, and that problem continues. That's a legal concern for me.
Bob, could you speak to that at all?
Not right at this minute, no. I don't know enough information about it as to exactly what, I don't know what people are certifying to when they apply for unemployment, nor do I know what we're certifying them to either.
Till we find that out, because that's been.
My understanding of unemployment was that you certify what the wages are, not the hours, but, yeah, I guess we can find out.
We would have those,
Well,
Ms. Crum would have whoever handles the unemployment filing, would have that information.
Well, right, presumably we'd have some records.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know that you certify what the payroll is, and you know, I like to bring my personal recollections in when somebody asks me a legal question, but I mean, I filled out the form, so I'm 99% sure that the only information they ask is how much do they get every week, not what hours do they work, but I'll check.
Okay. Would you like to check into that, or should we just ask our CFO to look at it and I can
Sure,
come back with an answer
why don't
next?
you do that?
Okay, I don't have a problem doing that. I'll get an answer from our CFO for next
Yes,
meeting.
you have
I mean, this isn't immediate anyway tonight. We
Right.
can talk about it next meeting too. The idea of bringing it up tonight was to give us enough time in advance of reorg, because that would presumably be the soonest time of action.
And that's when
well,
they-
I'm okay with this, I mean, because that seems to be a whole different issue.
It is a whole different issue, yeah.
So I'm okay with this now, if we want to recommend this, or do we, I don't know if we need to wait.
We probably need to wait to make sure that we have that right with as Bob is saying. He's pretty sure that it's just the
Right.
wages.
Oh, I know you could change the salary. I mean, the only question that Jim had was there something wrong in terms of somebody filing for unemployment? I don't think that they asked that question, but, it's, you know,
Well,
it's just not a bad
totally.
point, so let's find out. And I think you can separate the two things.
Well, that's what I'm saying, do we need to wait for that answer before we move on this?
But we're not taking
Because-
any action tonight yet.
Well,
You
I mean,
know,
theoretically,
bring it back to the
if,
next meeting.
right, we could, but theoretically, if someone retires tomorrow, then we would need to give, the clerk direction as to how to draw up that resolution.
Well, that
But that's
wouldn't be a problem. That's
theoretical,
not really
so-
affected by what the question is. In other words, the new hires are not a problem because that's what even the concern that Jim has is covered because you're now paying them a certain amount of money for a certain number of hours.
Right, so that's why I think what, the council president's getting to is, we can agree to this plan tonight,
Right, because this is
and
for new
then
hires.
we can get an answer to that
It
question
doesn't matter with
for the next
unemployment,
meeting.
really how many hours you work. It's, you know, have you been working 3 months prior to the date that you're no longer working? So but I would suggest that even though we've done a lot with unemployment filing and whatnot for temporary employees, if we could have, if you could have Sandy, you know, check out some of the filings and see what's actually on there.
Mhm.
And to me, it's two separate issues. I mean, you know, you file, even if you work 1 hour per day, and you're paid into unemployment, you've worked for 3 months, you're still eligible to collect unemployment. You know, so,
While
Okay.
we're talking, by the way, I just checked the ordinance to make sure that it doesn't say anything about how many hours, so that we'd have to amend that, but it doesn't. It just talks about what the duties are and the qualifications.
alright?
Okay.
Anything else with regard to that? Move along.
All right, I think there was actually a little, no one really said if
Oh.
they view it as separate issues or if they would
Separate
rather
issue,
just
move
wait.
it forward, would be my opinion, and let's advance it for some action in January.
Okay.
Okay.
Everything's good, you're good with that?
Yes.
Okay, good,
Okay.
thank you.
Tina, you clear on that? Okay.
Alright. Anything else, Council?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, public comment, if there's anyone in the audience that wishes to address the mayor and council, please step forward to the microphone, sign in, state your full name and address, and please limit your comments to approximately 3 minutes. Anybody wanna? Step up to the mic, Mr. Tyler.
Just be courteous.
Are you sure you turned that heat down, Councilman?
Now all the way. I've been turning it up.
My office is actually warm, and it hasn't been warm in 4 years.
It's pretty warm in there.
Good evening, Mayor and
Sir.
gentlemen. The council, Bruce Patterson, 325 Willow Avenue. It's very disconcerting about this fence. You know, I'm in construction, and normally, if it's shown on the drawings, then it has to be provided, or if it's shown in a note, or even in the specifications, it's spelled out, you have to provide some kind of perimeter fence. Yeah,
There was a construction fence. That was what was on the plan, but there's not a permanent fence.
and that's that orangey.
No, that's they put up a regular chain link construction fence around the whole site.
Okay, in other words, the specifications dictated that they put up a construction.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, but not a
But not a
permanent.
permanent fence, only around the soccer field.
So I guess that was like an oversight, I guess.
I guess you'd have to say that.
It came up later,
Yes,
after all the bidding and everything started.
What kind of costs are we talking about?
I don't know yet.
We said keep it under 17.5.
Well, it would have to stay in the 17.5 if we didn't want to go out for public bid. But, you know, if it goes over 17.5, we'll have to then make a bid document, and you see public bid. We'll have to get 2 or 3 quotes as it is, but,
Yeah, I'm sure you know like a rough linear footage cost. I don't know what the perimeter is, but.
I don't know either offhand. Because there's some areas that's, you know, it's somewhere around 500 feet. So it could be close to that threshold.
National fence.
Okay. You're saying like $30 a foot, in other words.
Oh, yeah, I think we're gonna be paying somewhere around there, so.
Where's that money gonna come out?
You're paying for it.
Why? Ultimately, we're, you know, not just me, but collectively me, and we're all paying for it. But is this another thing out of the operating budget, or, you know, are we out of contingency of the complex?
Tina?
Is this after the complex is
I certainly
done?
don't know how much it is, so.
Well, couldn't provide
where it's coming
contingency,
from.
that's part of the contract.
Caught before the
We're
horse.
not gonna, we're trying to keep
So once
it.
we see how much it is, we'll figure out where we can pay for it from.
And Mayor, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, there are probably 2 sources. One is capital, and one is, is anybody left in the complex project itself?
Right.
Those would be the first 2, reverse, those would be the first 2 sources of flow.
Right.
I like Tina's answer better.
I mean,
But I just
Turn it
wanted to say
on,
it's not
yeah, he's
operating,
right.
it's not operating.
somehow it comes out of our pocket.
Mm.
Right?
The Open Space Trust Fund, I did write a letter to the council.
Mhm.
Yeah, Bill's right, you know, I don't know if the county really thinks things through, but, you know, Summit's like 350,000, I think that's what Summit, you know, and they're gonna have to match that money or turn it down. They're proud, and I talked about this at the Freehold meeting, you know, they're proud that they've been keeping their municipal tax increases to like 0.25% and under 1%, which is amazing. I don't know how they're doing it. They actually offered the county to sit down and maybe they, you know, some of it would explain some things to the county, but I guess it never came about. But I mean, you know, maybe the county's doing this just to stick it to Summit, saying, you want the money, you gotta have to increase your taxes, and it's gonna be over 1% this time. And that's a shame. I don't know if it's a political game or not. But in this letter, I suggested, again, have all the towns come together in a concerted effort and pass a resolution saying, we want our money back, we're not gonna match it. Simple as that. It's in the letter. Bill mentioned maybe we can discuss it starting next year. I mean, I'm not gonna let that go. I mean, this is, well, you
I
know,
have one thought for you, Mr. Patterson, with regard to this.
stop going to the county
I voted that a long time ago, right? No,
Less
my
than-
question is, and as you're sitting here talking, I'm thinking the original referendum was on the ballot in the year 2000. Was the piece about the match included in the original referendum? That's my question.
That's what you gotta find out.
That's what we need to find out. If so, that means that the voters who voted for the, I didn't, and neither I did Mrs. Leonard at the time, I didn't think it was necessary, but did the voters approve that referendum on the ballot that year? You know, knowing that, I'm just curious, you know, was it,
Yeah, and I
was
can't
included
say
in that?
yes or no on that either. And I'm just wondering now, are all the grants that come out of the open space matching grants?
I know that the historic preservation ones are.
Yeah, there's certain ones that they come out and if they go out.
Right, historic preservation and the recreation.
Tina, is the Kids Trust one? Is that a match?
Yeah, yes.
And I would wager that, yeah, they all are.
Green Acres are matches, I believe.
Yeah.
They're not, you know.
That's for
No.
Green
not-
Acres
no.
are, yeah, that's
No.
state.
No.
But that's not.
They
they-
are.
some-
We got a 2% loan, and the Green Acres grant. I am not certain if it was matched,
Which one?
It is matching.
the $500,000 grant.
Oh,
My recollection is it's matching. And I actually
500,000 wasn't
know
matched.
something on this
What was
matching.
it matching?
Not 500,000, we didn't match 500,000.
Sure we did, we
Yes, we
bonded
did.
$3 million, matched.
The reason that they do the matches, they actually changed the open space, from what I understand, this is after talking to some people in the county. They were fronting money to municipalities for projects. The municipalities were then taking the money, putting it in a bank account and not doing the project. And it was sitting there for years.
That is
So
true.
what they did is they changed it to a matching system where the municipality has to have skin in the game. And they actually started to put some heat on municipalities that your grants are expiring. And we dealt with that issue, saying, hey, if we, you know, if we have to rebid, and which we wound up doing, if we would delay certain things, will those expire? And the answer to that was, there's a possibility. So from what I understood, and what you probably get from the county, in the implementation of it, fronting the money to the municipalities without a match was not effective. I think that's what they'll probably say.
Well, you bring up the expiration. They did talk about it at one of the meetings. And expiration will make you spend the money. I mean, you know, matching, all matching does is create stress. You know. They like to say it stretches the money, but it's our money that we have to match. And it just creates stress on the 2% cap. I don't know who's gonna be the financial person next year, but, you know. That's another $20,000 you gotta.
Right.
Okay, are you wrapping things up now?
I wrapped up that item.
Is there anyone else here who has any other questions or
Yeah, 'cause
concerns?
I can
Then-
keep talking. I'll sit down and come
If
back
there
up.
aren't, then I will, 'tis the season, I'll give you a couple extra minutes. And let's move it along.
Yeah, I'll give you another plaque. That's true, it's winding down, I'll, you know.
Okay.
Thank you for this medical opt-out, which is great. You know, I appreciate you're actually looking for, you know, you're looking out for us residents, and I really like that. That is good, that somebody's coming up with an idea like that. And there's other situations that maybe should be addressed. Yeah, I wasn't at whatever that meeting was, and I did have a paper, and you said there's actually two people who were, guess Tina was talking, whatever the meeting was, and one person has the opportunity to opt out in Garwood. Every year I ask the
Right,
CFO,
yes.
and the CFO says nobody, but now it
Exactly.
sounds like one person is.
Is eligible and is taking that, yes.
Are
You're
you
correct.
allowed to say who it is?
I don't know
That's
that
not,
that would
that's
be.
not,
No,
no.
we should, I think we should.
No?
No.
All right. There are other variations of this medical cost. I mean, what happens, and I think you really should address it. You know, what happens if somebody, if the taxpayers are paying for somebody's health plan for the spouse, and another spouse outside of Garwood working for the government is taking the opt-out money? By all rights, that money should be offsetting our policy that we're paying for that spouse. That's another issue that we should
No
really
two
discuss.
state health benefits employees, regardless of which municipality they are in, can collect the stipend.
Yes,
Or one,
but at
they
this
both
point,
can't,
you're addressing the
they
stipend.
both can't be in the state health benefits. One has to be.
I agree, and that's how that opt-out came about, but now Councilwoman Tedesco is
No,
talking
they're two
about.
different things.
It's two different things?
Yes. The state, you can't have two in the state health benefits program, and there is no stipend for that.
Right.
It's only if you have other coverage outside of the state health benefits program. In other words, one spouse, say, works here, is in the state health benefits program, they have a spouse that works somewhere else that has, yes, that has not state health benefits. That was what, when they had the option, if they could show that they had health benefits, you're not even allowed to just opt out of health benefits. You can only opt out and get a stipend if somebody else has insurance, but that's.
But you also have to remember, government entities are not necessarily all in the same health benefit. There's different health plans.
Yes,
For example, the county.
yes.
So I'm saying that if the county is giving an opt-out dollar amount to somebody whose spouse is on the payroll here in Garwood, by all rights, that money should be taken in to offset the policy that we're paying for.
Well, we can't control that.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, if this is gonna be discussed, then maybe it should be discussed with
We can't-
variations.
We can't do anything with that. We're not allowed to do that. In other words, we can't say, because some other employer is giving you a stipend, that we want a piece of it.
But it's government tax, it's tax money.
I understand, but we can't do that. I mean, somebody else can do it, the other entity can do it, but we
Well, it
can't.
could be somebody working in private industry who's got a.
Whoever it is, we have no claim on a stipend that somebody gets who doesn't work here.
All right, and then I guess the other variation that I'm considering is also the part-timer that's still part-time, has gone through the grandfather clause and is getting a very large benefit, health benefit. And I've suggested a cap on that at one time, and maybe it should be addressed at this point. Since we're going forward for another 3 more years of some major medical costs, that is just for a part-time employee. I think that should be addressed also.
Anything else, Mr. Clement?
Let's go, Chris. Yeah, I guess, the unemployment, you know, for the crossing guards,
Your time is gradually.
dwindling away. Okay, well, I got another time to speak.
Yes, right.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, anybody else here this evening have any comments or questions? There being none, we'll close the public comment portion of the meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn the workshop session?
Motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, be back here at 8:15, that's 7 minutes.